How do you feel, given Duck Prince Press's mission statement and origin, um, about the publishing of books that are proudly serial numbers filed off fan fiction? So, for people who aren't familiar with that term, it just means somebody took a fanfic and like used find and replace to like change the characters' names, and now our marketing is original fiction. So if it was, I don't know, Castiel and Dean, to use my own example, um, not that I've filed off serial numbers, but I have written a lot of Destiel. Uh, um, then maybe Dean becomes some guy named Mitch, and Cass becomes you know Richard, and Mitch and Richard have their you know romance for the ages. Um, in this quote unquote original work. How do I feel about it? I think it depends. I think it I think it can be well done. Um, I don't want to name names, but I've been in fandom long enough that I know of major published works that were fanfic that are not widely known to have been fanfic and that are very popular and are not getting the oh, it's got the serial numbers filed off. It's bad. I think just like most kinds of writing, it can be well done, it can be poorly done. I know as an author, at a point when I was having trouble making words on original work, I mostly write alternative universes, often very, very far from the founding material. And part of the reason I did that was with the expectation that someday I would file the serial numbers off of my own work. Um, and it's relatively easy to do when it's very far from canon. Um, that said, I think it needs to be more than just a find and replace. There's things that work in fan fiction that won't make sense if it's an original fiction. If it's poorly done, if those things aren't changed, um then it's going to read like fan fiction. Even everyone will know. If I used Dean and Castiel as examples. If Dean is still a monster, if Mitch is still a monster hunter and Richard is still an angel of the Lord, it's going to be pretty damn obvious that this was supernatural fanfic, and that's not necessarily going to be that entertaining for people to read if they're not interested in the fandom. Um, on the other hand, I know of a Dean Cass work that got remade as fem slash as sapphic, um, and completely rewritten. It's a completely different book now, even though it has the same basic story, and that's not bad in and of itself. What I think about it is it really depends. I think when they lean in on that part for the marketing, though, that's a little awkward. I feel like if any fan author did what Tradpub is doing with like, it's actually Dramione, which is the ship for Draco Malfoy and Hermione, or this was very clearly Reylo, which is Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars. Like, if any of us did that, we'd get our butts sued off. And it's a little obnoxious to see places that are bigger than us taking advantage of that part of fandom culture in a way that fans never actually could. Um, and that's quite aside from whether or not they're good books or bad books, because I think trying to say it's okay when they're good and it's bad when they're bad is actually not maybe the best framework for it. Um, but yeah, sorry, I could keep going. I have strong opinions about fandom stuff. Basically, I think it can be done well. I think it can be done poorly. I don't love the way it's being marketed. Um, this is an Ask Me Anything. I'm Claire, the owner of Duck Prince Press. Hit me up if you got any questions.